Right, you beauts. So, as you've probably everyone heard, that I won't be doing the UK version of Global Magnet Fishing charity event this year on the 15th of July 2023. So, I've wrote a few things down here because I think we need to get to the bottom of why I made this decision, who it affects, and what the future holds for me personally putting together charitable events. So for 4 years now I've been doing magnet fishing, 4 years plus. I've been on social media, YouTube, Instagram. I started off on Instagram before I did YouTube. Bit of a background, there was a few people doing magnet fishing, a few people doing it on social media, but nothing to the context of what's on social media these days. That's good and that's bad in my eyes. And I just want to let people know that these are my opinions, and I do have some factual things I want to talk about. So let's crack on. So for 4 years I've been doing magnet fishing, 4 years plus. I've been affiliated with Magnet Store, which has been pretty much from day one of me starting my social media up, and I've stuck with them ever since. Now, they was the main sponsor for my very first 24-hour magnet fishing event. So, in a way, it affects them as well. And also, fast forwarding 3 years, because it will be our third year of doing a 24-hour one this year, which obviously is cancelled. White Welly magnet fishing, White Welly BMX restorations are the same, but Andrew and Hannah was on board to co-do this with me as well. So it affects them as well. I did consult with obviously Andrew and Magnet Store regarding the decision that I had made about this year's event, and the reason why, or the reasons why, I've decided I'm not going to do it. Now, if you think about it in context, this is a global event, so other parts of the globe are still doing their events, so please support them. There is a Facebook group where I will show other people's events, etc., and keep information going on the global magnet fishing day as well, because why should it stop just because Britain can pull the finger out their asses and sort the problems out. So let's crack on. Magnet fishing in groups. So when I first started magnet fishing, I did it solo, and then I progressed with a couple of people with me, the other Patriots. And there was a few people solo magnet fishing, a couple of people going out as a family, and etc. So in a way, it was a way of getting people out onto the canal bank. Well, 3-4 years down the line, yes, people are on the canal banks, but it is full of cliques. Now, what I want to talk to you about in cliques is, whenever, the abbreviation of a clique, it's a group of people. But that group of people don't necessarily cause harm to another group of people or persons. It's when that starts happening, then you start getting the toxic cliques. And it's people in there who have an opinion about a certain person or persons within another group. It escalates and feeds through their group. And then what do you have? You have a toxic group, hell-bent on causing trouble for other groups. Now, I just want you to put into context of what good groups are, and I've got 3 examples that I can just think of as good groups that respect each other, that talk to each other, that plan stuff together, and just basically have fun. Now, the first one that comes to mind is when I lived up Manchester, the local ones, which was the Northwest crew. Now, you have, in the Northwest crew, you have people from all walks of life, all different areas. They've all come together and they've all made cracking videos separately, but as a group, collectively, they go out together. Now, this group has had trolls, had nasty things said about them, nasty things said about their homes, nasty things said about their personal lives, and nasty things said about individual in the groups. So they've had their fair share, but you know what? As a group, as a unit, look at them for being respectful as a group. They are a solid group. On to the next group, who have also had trolls, have also had people slagging them off, have also had things said about them, have also had numerous accusations made, which is the Outcast crew. Now, same again, from all different walks of life have come together and had a respectful gathering, a respectful group. Some people either like these groups or they don't like them, but that's your choice. I'm not going to say that you're never going to get people who hate each other and don't like each other, but I'm giving examples of the way groups should be. So you've got the Northwest crew, all different walks of life, had their hardships over the years, and you know what, I can eat humble pie. I have had a couple of issues which I needed to address, you know, and I have talked to these people in Northwest crew as well personally. I don't put it all over Facebook, but we do this individually as people, because with this community, sorry I'm going off the track here, but with this community, over here this person's saying this, over here this group's saying that, over here this single person saying this, over here you hear bollocks over that side. So when you start hearing all these things, you start to question, do you know what, I need to speak to this person because I'm hearing this over here, let's just sort it out. And that's what I did, and that's what we did. Same again with the Outcast, you know. I heard things over here, I heard things over there. So do you know what, it come to a point where it needed sorting out, and we did this yet again off Facebook. We did it as a group, we did it as respectful to each other, because that's how we build things up. So obviously, you know, the Outcast crew are always on people's lips, always in people's mouths, and to be honest, you know, they just crack on with things, same as the Northwest crew. So they're 2 examples of, you know, people that you could possibly look for as a group who are solid. So another one as well is the Glasgow magnet fishing. So again, a solid crew, you know, go, do, plan events, go out as a crew, but you know what, invite people out, share the locations. Do you want to come here, do you want to come there? Yes, they've been trolled, yes, they've had threats made against them, and yes, you know, they've been involved in a few things, but as a group, they're solid. So examples of groups of what, you know, I wouldn't say that they're all them are cliquey groups, they're just solid groups in my eyes, of how we as magnet fishers can think, do you know what, if we ever set a group up, look at them 3, try and get the blueprint off them, what works, what doesn't, what members are good, what members are toxic, and work from it that way. Keep an ethos in mind when you do things like this. I have my own ethos. I go out on my own now. That's my ethos. Because my trust levels, gone. But I'll get on to that. So obviously I've wrote stuff down here, and do you know what, I'll get to this book in a minute. So I've mentioned about obviously the other groups, how we can look to them and think, do you know what, why can't we be like them? Why are they always going out having fun, finding treats, etc., coming back happy, smiley faces? And then you've got the other groups over here that are hell bent on ruining it for everybody else, because they're sour people. So, right, I'll give you my example of personal things that I've had done or said to me. Like I say, I've been on social media for over 4 years, so in a way, yes, you're going to get the odd person who gets an arsehole about you. You're going to get the odd person who doesn't like what you're doing. But I'll tell you something as well, you know, I used to go out on my own, 6 o'clock in the morning. I've had, well, people that know me and who I talk in confidence, you know, I've had crap on them canals. I've had people wanting to start a fight. Not because of what I'm doing, just because of, you know, I'm out at that time and there's idiots about. I've had people graffiti my logo under bridges where I fish, thinking it bothers me, but it doesn't, because it's free advertised as far as I'm concerned. The only thing I can say about that is it looks like that you wrote it with your left foot. You know, so maybe you could work on that a bit, but the logo needs to be, you know, a little bit better, to be honest. You know, it could be a lot better. So I've had that. I've had trolls threatening me, saying if you come down to this area, look what happens. Well, do you know what? The very next day I'll go down to that area and look what happened. Nothing, mate. So anyway, these are the things that I've had to endure. I've had comments, I've had, I don't know, I think the most I've had is like 31 thumbs down in a video, you know, I don't know. Probably from the same people, I don't know. Well, you know, but to be honest, I process it, I move on from it, and I still make my content. What comes into factor is when you start messing with charity money, right? And you start messing with people that want to put on events, and then it affects that. It affects raising money. That is the problem that this whole video is about, because that's who it's affecting. And the people who are doing this, you know, and there's quite a few people, don't get me wrong, there ain't just the odd one, there's quite a few people who want to cause trouble, who want to be Billy Big Bollocks over this side, and they want to be you know, Queen Bollocks over this side. You know, get a grip, right? We're all doing a hobby, just get a grip and leave the people alone who want to do events. So, like I said, I'm reading from my books, I've wrote a few notes down. What are we on to next? Right, when I first did my very first 24-hour magnet fishing event, do you know what, that took a hell of a lot of planning, a hell of a lot of time away from my family, a hell of a lot of time dedicated around a full-time job, a hell of a lot of network marketing, a hell of a lot of social media, designing, promotions, etc. And you know what? There was two things that stood out, negative things. Sorry, there were three things negative that stood out on my very first event. I spoke to a group of people and they turned around to me and said that such and such, they've heard that they wasn't invited to the event, which absolutely shocked me, right? Because I've only ever said to one person that I'd rather that this person didn't come because of something which I'll get onto in a minute. But yeah, then this group of people said that you know, that they'd heard that they weren't invited, which absolutely disgusted me. And it angered me a bit because people are putting words in my mouth which I haven't said. So I acknowledge that, and do you know what? They end up coming on the Sunday and integrating with everyone else and enjoying themselves, because that's what they do. But this is what I mean when you hear people over here saying this and do that. Just come to the person, please, because I had to approach people and say, is this true what you've said? You know, and then we've had a chat and sorted it out. So go on to the other point as well, which one person threatened to bring the police down to my very first event if another person came. Now, I had to make a choice. I had to make a choice there and then, and I'm not going to go into details because it could be ongoing, I don't know. But this said person said to me, I can't have this person near me, right? Fair enough. So when it involves the police and that, like, I've got to be respectful. So I had a word with this other person and said, you know, it's going to cause a lot of trouble. I'd rather, you know, if you don't mind, not come. And you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong, and I hold my hand up for that one. And I have said to this other person, you know, I have apologised to that person. I got it wrong because I was listening to this person over here. So we live and learn, get two sides of the story. And you know what? If people are going to cause problems and they don't want to be with each other, or they can't be near each other, then don't come. Do you know what I mean? And this is what I'm trying to get at. When I advertise it and said I've cancelled it, you know, I give reasons why I've cancelled, right? My main reason is because I've lost my mum, right? And it is very, very hard at the moment, even making this video, to function, right? Because it's still raw. But do you know what? I could have possibly gone through that and done the event, but not what I get onto next. Not what I get onto. This is where I draw the line. Draw a line under it, right? Yes, and I thank everyone for the messages about my mum and the condolences and private messages, WhatsApp, anything. You know, everything that I've got, talks and that lot, I appreciate everything. So let's move on to the next page, right? My next 24-hour global fishing event, my next magnet fishing 24-hour event was going to be a global one. That took a lot of planning, a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of out of areas calls, other country calls, time zones. That took a hell of a lot of planning, And you know what? Just literally prior to my event, right, I had a person threatening a woman. Right, now this lady was coming to the event, but I had this person over here threatening her, threatening to do whatever, right? Now, I had a word in this person's ear roll and basically said, you know, you're not welcome. You're not welcome at this event. This caused a lot of anxiety for people turning up at the event. So even before we've even raised any money, right, people are anxious to come to my event. Anxious. Because of this said person is going to do this, this and this to other people as well. Not just that lady, to other people. So, you know, I think that was dealt with by that other person as well, but I'm not too sure. I'm just giving you what I've seen and heard. So anyway, I don't really know what happened about that, but this person was really anxious, and so was the lady. Now, I personally said to both of them, do not worry, right, because it'll get sorted, right? So then you're on your guard. You know, you haven't even started your event yet. You're on your guard of what could happen. And at the end of the day, I keep saying this, you know, this book, the book stops with me because I'm organising. I'm literally getting a load of people together and expecting everyone to behave, expecting everyone to like each other, expecting, you know, it's never going to happen like that, but mutual respect towards me, that's what should have happened. So anyway, this said person started saying that they'd already done that part of the stretch of canal, knowing full well that I was doing my event there, but then turning around to other people and saying, oh, I'll see you at the event. So again, making threats about turning up, etc. You know, he didn't. But at the end of the day, these are the things that organisers have got to deal with, have got to put into context, because I've got a duty of care to you guys. I've got a duty of care to make sure that you guys are okay, because it's my event. It's my name, the buck stops with me. If anything happens at an event, it comes down to me, right? If I've done something wrong or I hadn't taken action on something. This is what we do at events. We don't just leave it to chance, we think about all these things. So this said person said, oh yeah, I've already done that stretch of canal. I fished it, right, knowing full well, listen, people can go anywhere they want, but out of respect, why would someone do that? Because it was a bit spiteful. Whether it were to get to that person over there, whether it were to get to me, or whether it's to get to anybody else, or the fact that you were invited, I don't know. So anyway, that's what happened. So that's leading up to my event. On the day of the event, right, I had a water bailiff approach me. Now, I've never had any sort of action with water bailiffs in all the 4 years that I've been magnet fishing. And if I did, I would be respectful. And on this day, because everything was set out right, everything was going smoothly, and I gave him my number and said, listen, you know, if there's any problems, we'll move along. If there's any problems whatsoever, I respect what you're saying. But do you know what? Somebody called them on purpose. Somebody called them on purpose. And I don't know why. Maybe it's spiteful. Maybe it's just to stop the event. Maybe it's just to crush the event. Right? They did not do that out of the sign of respect for me, out of the sign of respect for all these people that have travelled all around from different parts of the country. Someone from Ireland turned up. Do you get what I mean? This is what the organisers have got to deal with. Always on a constant basis. And I tell you that it is hard work, it is grinding. And you know what? Over that weekend, I was up for about 37 hours. So for 37 hours, I'm thinking, is someone going to cause shit? Is someone going to cause trouble? Is someone going to do this? Is someone going to do that? Is someone going to try and sabotage it? Is anyone going to get hurt? You know, all this is going through my mind. Why should it? Why should that shit go through my mind, right, when I'm trying to get everybody together to do something for charity? Anyway, what am I on to next? Oh yeah, how long it takes to organise an event? Over 12 months. Over 12 months. I tell you now, right, this here, yeah, stuff like this is what I use to organise things. It's what I use to organise events, right? And that's a lot of hard work gone into that. Yes, it's my choice to choose to do an event, but you know what? Every year I try and get everybody together. Every year I try and get everybody to, for 1-2 days, just put your shit to one side and just crack on. But you know what? Every single event I've had problems. So I put my own money into events. I put my own time, dedication away from spending time with Mrs. B, with the family, working a full-time job. I spend all this time doing this. Now, yes, it is excellent to raise money, and I will always continue to do so when I can, but not at the extent of threats of violence and not to the extent of idiots. Not a chance. I will not put people through that, and I won't put myself through it or my family. Doing videos, social media, magnet store doing the banners, you know, stuff like that. They're advertising, other people's advertising, taking time out over and over and over and over again just to make sure that this event is 100% safe, 100% secure. Now this year, this year is the icing on the cake for me. Icing on the cake. Let's move over to the next one. What I've seen prior to making this decision, I've seen threats of violence. I've seen obviously videos people have made saying that they're gonna come to being hurt, as in, and I'll make an example of it because there's a video out there, having boiling water poured over them. Boiling water poured over a human being. Now that is disgusting. And put it into the mix of children involved. No. Draw the line under that. Threats of people going to somebody's house and doing them over. No. Now, I'm sure these people who have had threats made against them are doing the right things, going to authorities about it. But what I will not have is any of that, even in the inkling, and then put an event on. How can you put an event on when there's people threatening each other? Because these people will be hell-bent, even if they're not invited, they'll be hell-bent on making phone calls, hell-bent on doing something in the background. That's what I believe. People slagging each other off on cameras. Listen, if you've got a problem with somebody, please just don't air it all over social media. I mean, to cover your backs, obviously, if you've had threats made against you and you're covering your backs and you want it on a video, fair enough. But I've seen people just talk about someone like they're a piece of shit. You know, calling somebody because of if they like a drink. Calling somebody if they're down. I've even had, and I'm going back a bit this, I even saw somebody call somebody because there was a soldier and saying that there was a disgrace to our country. That shit don't fly with me, right? Because that person has put their life on their line to protect this country, right? How dare you put them down? Anyway, another thing as well. Yeah, so basically this book stops with me, right? I cannot move forward with doing any more events for charity at the moment. But on the 15th of July, what I've decided, and I've chatted with Andrew about this, that Andrew's going to come down to my local area, and there's a few people around here, and we're just going to have a little fish together on the 15th and do our contribution for Global Magnet Fishing Day. What the future holds for me doing charitable events and organising events is, moving forward now, I think I'm going to be doing it on private land, and it's going to be invitation only, and that is the way that I think I'm going to move forward with this. I can't take a chance with people dick swinging with each other, slagging each other, threatening to burn each other, threatening to call the police on each other. I can't be doing with it, and I'm not putting you guys through it. I'm not putting anybody through that. Even if nothing happens, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it at all. I won't be able to live with myself if something happens to somebody, you know, on something that I've organised. And it's sad because it takes a lot of time to organise these events, a lot of patience. But when it comes down to safety and threats of violence and threats of maiming each other and hurting each other, no, not a chance. So unfortunately, that'll be my way forward from now on. So I'm hoping that people have got an understanding of where I sit now. And I'm absolutely disgusted with what I've talked about today, but it needed to be said. I'm no angel, I'm no saint, right? I've had my beefs with a few people and groups, but we've sorted it out like men do. And have a chat, right? Have a chat. And if we can't see eye to eye, then we can't. You know, and then we just move on and respect each other. Doesn't mean I want to go and physically hurt that person or they want to physically hurt me. We just got different, you know, ways forward. So this is where I stand at the moment. I'm not putting anybody in a situation when there's threats going around, when people want to maim and hurt each other, where people want to cause trouble, where people want to ring authorities on each other, where people want to physically slag each other off on videos and then think it's funny, call people because of their ailments, and most of all, right, calling people because of their disabilities. Do you know, when I did my very first 24-hour magnet fishing event, I thought of pretty much everything I wanted at two locations. One where people can stay over, one where people can fish through the day. Make sure it's flat for people with wheelchairs, making sure it's accessible if people have got children, all that lot, yeah. And, you know, 99.9%, you know, it worked out. But you know what, I had on that very first one, that was Manchester, I had a message saying that, and it wasn't intended to me, but it was sent to me, saying that they'd come down to watch the event to basically spy, to keep tabs for the CRT. There was a few things that they didn't like. They said they weren't invited or involved in anybody, but everybody can, you know, talk amongst themselves. It's things like this, it's negative things that drop you down a bit and you think, do you really want to do another one? You know, because you think you've ticked all the boxes. But there'll be no boxes being ticked. The boxes are left blank for this year because I'm not having it. I'm not having it at all. And I'm not putting anyone through that. Yes, the charitable bit's got to cop for it, you know, but it stops for me at the end of the day. The book stops for me, and I'm not putting anyone through that. Whether it's all spurious comments, whether it's all bullshit comments, whether it's all just someone having a bit of a dick swing, you know, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Well, if you've got problems, have a chat with people, you know, that's all I can say, because there'll be no more events, charitable events where I get everyone together in the foreseeable future unless all this shit stops. So that being said, I'm going to bow out because yes, it's coffee o'clock. So thank you to all the people that have, let me just say this. In the backgrounds, when we're organising events, we ask people if they want to donate stuff. Now, a few people had already done stuff for the event and donated it you know, and I've personally got something from somebody. Now they've took their time out to do that. Now it's spoiling it for them as well, because I've cancelled it, so that means that they've made something or wanted to donate something, which they can't now. You know, and that's shame on you people. Shame on you people. So anyway, I'm going now because I want a brew. As you know, I like my brews. So thank you for everybody for taking time out to watch this. Yes, it's a bit long-winded. I needed to say it, because what's the point in having it up here when it should be coming out of here? Take care everyone, and happy hunting.